I found out my girlfriend was cheating through our joint credit card statement. I need to get this off my chest because I feel like I'm losing my mind. My girlfriend Maya and I have been together for about a year and a half, and she moved into my apartment 6 months ago. We're both doing well career-wise. I'm a software engineer. She works in marketing at a health tech startup. About 8 months ago, we got a joint credit card for shared expenses. We all started using Find My Friends to share locations, her idea, for peace of mind when traveling or working late. But the past 2 months, things felt off. Maya came home later, stayed on her phone constantly, got defensive about everything. A few times I checked Find My Friends when she said she'd be working late, and she'd be somewhere else entirely. When I brought it up casually, she lost it. Said I was controlling and paranoid, that checking her location was toxic behavior. I felt like garbage, deleted the app and promised to do better. I genuinely believed I was the problem. Last week, Maya said she was going to Portland to visit her mom Diane for a few days. She left one morning with her bags. A couple days later, I'm at my desk when my phone buzzes with a fraud alert. A charge for $847 at Azure Bay Resort in California. Maya's supposed to be in Portland. This charge is near San Francisco, over 1,000 miles in the opposite direction. I call the bank thinking someone stole our card. The rep confirms it was an in-person transaction. Then she tells me there are multiple charges from the same merchant over the past 3 days, $847 for the room, another $320, $156, $89. I hang up and log into our credit card account online. The itemized descriptions: Azure Bay Resort Spa Services, Azure Bay Resort Restaurant, Azure Bay Resort Room Service. Each charge spans 3 full days. Then I check our shared Expedia account. There it is, a reservation at Azure Bay Resort for a 3-night stay, suite with ocean view, booked for 2 guests. Name on the reservation, Maya Henderson plus guest, not me. I screenshot everything and call Diane. I ask how Maya's visit is going. There's a pause. Visit? Honey, I thought Maya was with you. She called me earlier this week and said she couldn't make it because of work. So Maya lied to both of us. I spent the rest of that day printing everything, the booking, charges, texts. I organized it chronologically because I know Maya. When caught, she makes you the bad guy. I'm not walking in blind. That evening when she's supposed to be back, she texted, "Just left Portland, should be home soon, miss you." I waited. She got home later, set her bag down, came to hug me. I didn't hug back. "Everything okay?" she asked, confused. I walked to the dining table where I'd laid out every piece of evidence. She followed behind. "Want to tell me about your trip?" She went pale, picked up the papers, flipping through them. "Caleb, I can explain, then explain." She started crying. "It's not what it looks like. I went with someone from work, Ryan, but nothing happened, I swear. You told me you were visiting your mother, then told her you couldn't make it. You lied to both of us just for a trip where you claim nothing happened." She stopped, caught. "There are charges here for spa services, restaurant charges, room service, a suite with 1 king bed. You spent $1,500 of our shared money on a romantic weekend with another man. We just needed to work on the campaign. Then why lie? Why turn off your location? Why make me feel crazy and controlling?" She had no answer. Just kept crying, reaching for me, saying it was a mistake. She'll end it with him. Please don't leave. That's when it sank in. She wasn't even denying there was something to end. I packed a bag while she was sobbing on the couch and drove to my buddy Nate's place. That night, I called the bank and requested that the joint credit card be frozen. They flagged the account and required verification for charges over $50. I also sent a quick email to my landlord letting him know my girlfriend and I had broken up and she'd be moving out soon, just as a heads up in case there were any issues. He responded saying he appreciated the notice and asked me to let him know when she was fully moved out so he could update his records. I don't sleep. I just keep replaying everything. The gaslighting about Find My Friends. Her crying like she's the victim. The phrase couples massage for 2 burning into my brain. Update 1: It's been about a week since I laid out all the evidence. First thing I did was take a day off and go to the bank. The manager said since it's a joint account, Maya technically has equal right to use the card, but they could freeze it pending an internal review. Card is now locked until we both agree to close it or resolve the dispute. They issued me a new individual card. My paycheck goes to my own account now. Financial separation complete. Maya's been relentless. The first couple days she called maybe 40 times, texted from her number, then unknown numbers when I blocked her. Frantic apologies, explanations that kept changing. First it was just emotional, then just a work trip that looked bad. Then we only kissed once. The story kept shrinking. A few days ago she showed up at my office. Security called me down. She was holding coffee, my favorite order. "Please, Caleb, just give me 5 minutes," she said, her voice all soft and broken. I didn't want to make a scene in front of my coworkers, so I stepped outside with her. Big mistake. The second we were alone, she immediately launched into this whole rehearsed speech about how she made a terrible mistake, how Ryan had been pursuing her for months, and she'd been feeling neglected and stressed, and it all just spiraled out of control. She said they'd been talking more after I became controlling about her location. Yeah, she actually had the nerve to say that, and the resort trip was her way of clearing her head about our relationship. "So you cleared your head by spending our money on a romantic getaway with him?" I asked, trying to keep my voice level. "It wasn't romantic. We had separate beds, we were just talking. You booked a suite with a king bed, Maya." I saw the room layout on the Expedia listing. There's literally only one bed in that suite. Her face flushed. She switched tactics immediately. Started crying again, saying she knew she messed up, but couldn't I see how hard she was trying to make amends. She offered to let me check her phone whenever I wanted, to quit her job if that's what it took. And here's the thing, there was a split second where I wavered, because I did love her. Past tense, I guess. I loved the version of her I thought I knew. But standing there watching her cycle through every manipulation tactic in the book, all I could think about was how she'd made me feel crazy for noticing she was lying, how she'd weaponized my concern for her into proof that I was the problem. "I don't want you to quit or go to therapy. I want you to leave me alone." She raised her voice, attracting attention. Said something like, "You know this is actually your fault, right? If you hadn't suffocated me, I wouldn't have needed someone else." Security started walking over and she left, saying she wasn't going to just give up on us. That night I got a call from Ryan. He must have gotten my number from Maya. "Look, man, I needed you to know, I had no idea she was in a relationship. She told me she'd just gotten out of something, that she was single. I didn't know about you until she panicked after your confrontation." I asked if they'd slept together. Long pause. "Yeah, but dude, if I'd known," I hung up. So she'd lied about that too. The next day, the bank called again. Maya tried using the frozen card at a grocery store and freaked out when it declined. She called them demanding to know why, threw a fit when they explained the account was under review. The rep told me that while they can't fully close a joint account without both signatures, they could keep it frozen indefinitely during the dispute process. That works for me. I told them to proceed with keeping it locked, and to send me the paperwork to formally remove myself from the joint account once the dispute is resolved. After a few more days of this madness, Nate told me to stop letting her chase me from my own place. "Dude, it's your apartment, your name on the lease. Don't let her make you feel like you have to hide." So I went back when she was at work and packed her stuff methodically, clothes in boxes, toiletries in bags, stacked everything by the door. When she got home that evening and saw the boxes, her face crumpled. "You're really doing this?" "Yeah, can't we just know?" I told her she had until month's end to leave. She didn't fight. Just grabbed a box and left. Haven't heard from her since yesterday. The silence is unnerving. Edit. Already documenting everything, screenshots of texts, voicemails, security footage of her office visit. Better safe than sorry. Update 2 all right, so this past week has been absolutely unhinged. I'm talking full on psycho ex-girlfriend territory that I never thought I'd actually experience in real life. Early in the week, I'm at work, deep in a code review, when my manager Slack messages me to come to his office. That's never a good sign. I walk in and he's got this uncomfortable look on his face, like he's trying to figure out how to tell me my dog died or something. Hey, so, I got a call this morning from someone claiming to be your girlfriend. He starts carefully. She said you've been harassing her and that she's afraid of you. She wanted to know our HR policies about domestic situations affecting the workplace. My stomach dropped through the floor. She said what? He held up a hand. I'm not saying I believe her. I'm telling you what she said so you know what's going on. She claimed you've been threatening her and that she's considering a restraining order against you, and she wanted to know if that would affect your employment here. I felt like I was going to throw up. Maya was actively trying to sabotage my job, my career, the one stable thing I had left. My manager, thankfully, is a good guy. He asked if I wanted to explain my side, so I did. Told him everything, the cheating, the evidence, the constant calling and showing up at my workplace last week. He listened, took some notes, and then said something that made me feel slightly less insane. Look, I believe you. This sounds like she's retaliating because you ended things and she didn't get the response she wanted. But I need to document this conversation, and I need you to keep me updated if she escalates further. If she calls here again, we'll handle it on our end, but you should probably consider your own legal options at this point. That afternoon, I went to the police station. The officer said a restraining order would be tough without explicit threats, but suggested I file a police information report, formal documentation that creates a paper trail. I did. Got a case number and was told to call 911 if she showed up again. Officer also suggested changing locks. A couple nights later, I'm home trying to distract myself with some gaming when I hear a key in the lock. My blood runs cold. I'd been meaning to change the locks but hadn't gotten around to it yet, and now that decision was coming back to bite me. The door opens and there's Maya standing in the doorway with a duffel bag like nothing's wrong, like she still lives here. Hey, she says, all casual, I'm just grabbing some more of my stuff. You can't just walk in here, I said, standing up from the couch. You don't live here anymore. We talked about this. I've been living here for 6 months, Caleb. You can't just kick me out without notice. I still have my key. She said it defensively, like she'd been looking up tenant rights or something. She walked past me into the bedroom, and I followed, pulling out my phone to start recording. I wasn't about to let her twist this into some story about me being threatening or aggressive. She started going through the closet, pulling out clothes she'd left behind, but also making these little passive-aggressive comments designed to get under my skin. I saw you filed a police report. Really mature, by the way. I didn't respond. Ryan feels terrible about everything, you know. You didn't have to be so mean to him on the phone. Still didn't respond. Just kept the camera rolling. I still love you. I hope you know that. Even after everything you've put me through. That last one almost made me laugh. Everything I'd put her through. The audacity was actually impressive. After about 10 minutes of this, she finally left, duffel bag full of clothes. The second the door closed behind her, I was on the phone with a locksmith. Emergency service, $200, I didn't even care. Got new locks installed that same night. Then I texted the landlord to inform him of the change, citing safety concerns and the police report I'd filed. He said he understood and appreciated the heads up. The next day was quiet, too quiet. Then things got even weirder. Ryan texted, "Dude, you need to know Maya's been calling me nonstop saying you two are working things out. I told her we're done, but she won't stop. I think she's unstable." Then, she also told me she's pregnant. Is that true? I froze. She hadn't mentioned pregnancy during any meltdown. If she was, wouldn't that be her nuclear option? I texted back, she hasn't said anything to me. She's lying, isn't she? Probably. That night I got an email from Maya. Subject, I'm sorry. Long, polished essay about reflecting, seeing a therapist, working on herself. She apologized for calling my boss and letting herself in. Said she hoped I could forgive her someday. It felt workshopped, too polished, no real accountability. I forwarded it for documentation and archived it. The next day at work, my manager pulled me aside. Maya called HR directly. They told her they couldn't discuss personnel matters with non-employees, and if she called again, they'd consider it harassment. That weekend, I did something I probably should have done weeks ago. I called Diane, Maya's mom. I'd been avoiding it because I didn't want to drag her into this mess, but I felt like she deserved to know what was going on. Plus, part of me hoped she could talk some sense into her daughter. Diane answered on the second ring. "Caleb, honey, how are you holding up?" I gave her the short version. "Maya cheated, I found out through the credit card, we broke up, and now she's been harassing me. Calling my work, showing up at my apartment, trying to make me look like the bad guy." Diane was quiet for a long time. I started to worry I'd made a mistake calling. Then she sighed deeply. "I was afraid of something like this." "What do you mean?" "Maya's done this before, Caleb. In her last serious relationship before you. His name was Jake. She cheated on that boy too, and when he found out and broke up with her, she didn't handle it well at all. She showed up at his apartment repeatedly, called his friends to try to turn them against him, made a whole scene at his workplace. It got so bad that he ended up having to move to a different city just to get away from her. I convinced myself at the time that it was a one-time thing, that she was young and didn't know how to handle a serious breakup. I wanted to believe she'd grown out of those patterns. But now, seeing her do it again with you," she paused. "I think this is just who she is. I think this is who she's always been." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "You knew she had a history of doing this exact thing, and you didn't think to warn me when we started getting serious. Would you have listened?" Diane asked quietly, and honestly, she had a point. "Besides, I wanted to believe she'd changed. She seemed so happy with you in the beginning, so different from how she was with Jake. I'm sorry, Caleb, I really am. I should have said something." We talked longer. Diane said she'd try to talk to Maya. I thanked her and hung up. Later that weekend, I deep-cleaned the entire apartment, washed sheets, scrubbed everything, rearranged furniture, threw out anything that reminded me of her. Nate came over and helped move the couch. New layout, new energy. That night, I finally felt like I could breathe. Then my phone buzzed. "Unknown number. You're going to regret this." I stared at it, blocked the number, and went to bed. Edit. Forwarded the threatening text to police and added it to my report. My phone is basically a mobile evidence locker. Final update: it's been a few weeks since my last post, and I think I can finally close this chapter. First, the legal stuff. After the threatening text, I met with a victim advocate who helped me file for a no-contact order. It prohibits Maya from contacting me or coming to my home or workplace. The judge approved it quickly given my documentation, the texts, emails, police report, recording of her entering my apartment. Maya was served about a week later. She answered the door in pajamas in the middle of the afternoon, seemed agitated, signed the papers, then immediately tried calling me. The call didn't go through since I'd blocked her, but showed as a notification. I forwarded it to my lawyer. "Yeah, I got one," and he said attempting contact right after being served was technically a violation but minor. He advised against pursuing it unless she escalated. She didn't. Complete silence after that. Shortly after, my landlord emailed to confirm Maya had picked up the last of her belongings from the apartment lobby where I'd left them. He asked if I wanted to officially notify him she was no longer a resident, and I said yes. Just wanted it documented. He said he appreciated me keeping him in the loop, and that was that. She gave San Diego as her forwarding address, which was news to me. I didn't know she had any connections there, but honestly I didn't care. She was gone. That chapter was closed. The bank finalized everything. Maya eventually signed the paperwork to close the joint account, probably just wanted to be done with me as much as I wanted to be done with her. My new individual card works great. Normal transactions. No surprise resorts. Work settled down too. HR sent Maya a cease and desist after her multiple calls. My manager checked in a few times. No more incidents. A while back, Diane called. Apparently, Maya moved to San Diego to stay with her aunt and was getting help, therapy, maybe medication. Then Diane said something that stuck with me. A while back, Diane called again. Her voice sounded heavier than last time, tired in a way that made me feel a little guilty for answering. "Caleb, I just wanted to check in on you," she started, "and to apologize again. I've been thinking a lot about what I should have told you from the beginning, about Jake. I thought maybe if I didn't say anything she really had changed, but I was wrong and you paid the price for my wishful thinking. It's okay, Diane. I appreciate you telling me when you did. There was a long pause. I also wanted you to know what's been happening with Maya. She tried to apply for a few marketing positions, but her old company let her go and won't give her a reference. Word got around in the industry about what happened. She's basically unemployable in her field right now. I didn't know what to say to that. My sister says she talks about you sometimes, Diane continued quietly. Not angry, just sad, regretful. She knows she destroyed something good, and I think that's finally sinking in. I'm sorry she's struggling, I said, and I meant it. I didn't want Maya to suffer, I just wanted to be free of her. You don't need to be sorry, honey. This is all her own doing. Diane took a shaky breath. I hope you're doing better than she is. I am, I told her honestly. I really am. Good, that's what I needed to hear. Take care of yourself, Caleb, and thank you for being a decent person through all of this. After we hung up, I felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. Relief that Maya was truly gone and not coming back. Sadness for what could have been if she'd been a different person, but mostly relief. Recently, I ran into Ryan at a coffee shop downtown. Total coincidence. We made eye contact and he waved me over. We talked for about an hour. It was awkward at first, but then it became kind of cathartic. He apologized again, said he felt like an idiot for not seeing the red flags. Maya had sent him emails after the no-contact order trying to explain herself, but he'd blocked her too. It was therapeutic talking to someone who'd been on the other side of her chaos. I'm sorry I slept with your girlfriend, man, he said. I feel like shit about it. I shrugged. You didn't know. She lied to both of us. Before we left, he asked if I wanted to grab a beer sometime. I said sure. I don't know if we'll actually become friends, but it felt good to bury the hatchet. Now I'm starting to feel like a person again. Going to the gym regularly, spending time with friends, went hiking in the Cascades recently. The apartment feels empty sometimes, but I'm making it my own. New art, better coffee setup, organized bookshelf. I'm not dating yet. Not even close, but I'm okay with that, just focused on rebuilding normal. People asked if I ever doubted myself or moved too fast. Honestly, no. The evidence was overwhelming. The lies were constant. The manipulation was textbook. The way she weaponized my concern against me, that told me everything. I appreciate all the support. You guys helped me see I wasn't crazy and that I deserved better. Thank you. As for Maya, I hope she gets help. I hope she figures out why she does this and stops hurting people. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I did what I needed to protect myself, and now I'm moving forward. For the first time in months, I'm excited about what's next. Edit. Total damage was around $1,500 from the resort charges. Since it's a joint account, I'm technically on the hook for half of it legally, but I'm not going to chase her for $750. Just want to be done with it. Expensive lesson. Will I use Find My again? Maybe with the right person. But I'll never let anyone make me feel guilty for wanting basic honesty. That's it, Reddit. Thanks for being here. I'm logging off this throwaway and getting back to my life. Take care and don't ignore the red flags. Peace.